Hello! Welcome back. With this sad music, we go into a sad story. The sad story of Lichvale. The sad story of Scott. Scott.
Former character.
That is a sad story. So, you guys entered the mayor's building, although you know it's almost more like a base of operations for this city doesn't have a castle or a palace. In fact, actually no, it does have sort of forts on the walls. None of them seem to be in use properly. But this seems to be where the this is at least where the base of operations for the city is, right? So you see people billing about and stuff, but you don't no one goes to get you. And every other time, maybe you've stand up for like 5 minutes and someone comes to get you. You've probably been standing there for 10 minutes or so before no one gets you. And maybe part of you are glad just because it's like, oh, not in the rain right now. But, yeah.
I'm just dripping all over a nice wooden floor. Serves you for
New
making
wooden
me wait.
floor and all.
Vegetation.
Just directly in front of Vale so he can witness that you're going to be nice and clean. Alright,
If we had time, I would try.
Yeah, do you eventually get bored and start looking for them?
Yeah.
Perception rolls!
This is when we go upstairs and we find like a horrific bloody murder and like shadowy essence in the Arcana rolls. Ah. Thank God you
Alright,
well.
Vale is
That'd
wet
be a good time
and
to sit
annoyed.
with you.
Vale is wet and annoyed. He looks around for a bit,
Happens
but when
more often
Amelia
than you
starts
think.
walking around, he's probably like, oh, don't look, we're just gonna wait. And because he's an elf and he doesn't really care. But Amelia starts walking around, and you do see in another side of the room, actually kind of a little bit away from things. Most of the walls have been knocked down and there's just pillars. But there's some sort of side rooms, but even then they don't have doors, they have archways. You see Lady Builder being talked to by that rude foreigner. And it doesn't look like a very pleasant conversation. It kind of looks like the mayor's being threatened at your first
Who
glance.
that rude foreigner?
The one that...
The guy who was coming out. Well, the girl who was coming out.
The woman
the door.
from... that. Basically, you opened the door and they
the
walked into you.
Cardinal Isles lady, yeah.
So I imagine like we come like around a corner, a corner, and we see this. So I'm just gonna take like a step back. I'm out of sight. And I'm just gonna listen.
Give me a perception roll to eavesdrop.
Can I listen to?
You don't. Well, if you see her doing that, and she's clearly like interested in
I
something.
would probably like hold out like a hand.
Well,
yeah, you can
I
go
see
and
Amelia
over
go
it.
for that, and I'm like, presumably Vale's like following.
Mhm.
So my imagination is Vale sort of sees this and puts her hand on the short sword. Then Amelia steps back to listen, and he's like, "Oh, okay, we'll wait and listen then."
Do a perception roller, because she didn't do very well.
Bloop.
So they're not being particularly quiet. So Vale, you do actually pick it up. The accent, the word. It's not that the accent, the dialect that the foreigner is speaking. It's common, but it's a very different kind of common. So some words do get lost, but it's a very you can hear most of the conversation. When you walk over, it's like the Bank of the Merchant Waves does not appreciate waiting so long for repayments. And the build's like, yes, I know, but with the situation with the dead list, when that is solved, there'll be plenty of coin around, and then we'll be able to take with this action that we're doing. Then if you just give us another loan, then we'll be able to survey the mines that were destroyed in the event. It's like mines will not be able to help you with the amount of coin that Lichvale is now indebted to the Bank of the Merchant Waves. And
Can I roll insight on that name?
Yeah.
Bank of the Merchant
Or
Waves.
history.
I may have encountered it at some point.
I would still say history.
Yeah.
Insight would be trying to work out what
Yeah,
history.
no, that's fine.
You've heard that a lot, actually, on the sea. It is a very influential bank in Tron. That is one of those things where, hey, if this bank has a
She
hand
shepherds gold in
in
France.
most, this bank has a hand in many places in the world. Like often, you go to attack someone and it's like, oh, they have a debt to this bank. if we kill them, the debt passes on to us, kind of technically, and you don't want that. Like it's almost like, ugh, just stay away from the whole thing.
Like you board them, and then they have like a writ, and they're like 10,000 gold debt, and you're like,
they're already fucked.
we won't kill you, but we'll take the crew.
Yeah. So you've actually heard of that before. The rest of the conversation is very much the same. She's trying to open a mine. She's actually asking for another loan to survey a mine. To not open it, to survey it. Which Vale you can connect the dots. This place was racked by earthquakes and stuff. Any kind of mines, you can't just go back in there, you know. And you knew Lichvale had mines, so. And also there was conversation that the mines, some of them may be contested in Dwarven territory now with the shifting of walls since the Goldport army no longer goes this far out.
Yeah.
So it's about kind of conversation. In the end, it's we will schedule this for another day, Lady Builder. I'm sure it'll be an absolutely brilliant conversation. I will still be in the city. I will be in my accommodations. If you have any more thoughts and something that can give confidence to the merchant, to the Bank of the Merchant Waves. And for now, you will have to think of ways to repay the debt that you have already accumulated. And then she leaves. Go ahead and give me a stealth check, you two, because you guys are just kind of standing there, not being very subtle. So this is kind of like a...
Now we should probably be subtle. No.
That's not very subtle.
Vale is actually actually pretty good at this.
Can I? This is on the presumption that Amelia fails it. Vale's gonna go in for a fake kiss, and then look surprised when she walks around the corner.
Well, it's funny because if you touch Amelia at all, she will react like very violently actually, and push you away.
So that happens.
Yeah, she'll be like jerking away from us. I do not like to be touched.
You push Vale back into a pillar, and that kind of like the woman leaves and just like, this would never happen in Tran, and walks past, and Lady Builder kind of walks out and is like, oh, yes, you did want a meeting. Sorry, I was sort of blindsided by a different meeting. Yes, to my office then, unless this won't take long. This will take long. Okay, to my office. And walks upstairs with you. You can tell that there's like a lunch in her office. Well, actually, it's a breakfast in her office she hasn't touched yet because she's been so busy. And she just kind of sits. She actually sits on the table and kind of like rubs her forehead a bit. And then like rubs her horns. Her horns go like straight up. She like rubs the base of the horns a little bit. Just kind of like absent-mindedly. What is it that you needed to discuss? You haven't already gone to see Kaspak, have you? That would be extremely...
No, actually on our way there today. So kind of like, she feels bad about this whole thing, so just kind of look to Vale. Like,
I think we merely wanted to clarify our position with regards to payment, considering our ongoing service to Lichvale.
Ah, yes. Gold. It's always about gold.
Well, no. Say, if perhaps you were struggling and you did not have the gold to pay adventurers such as us, I believe me and my friends could be persuaded to work and simply be given the deed of the house. At the moment,
I have the gold. The deal is still as stands: 250 gold on the completion of on peace of the dissolution of the bandit troop. Although I do admit, yes, this may take a longer time.
we were hoping for maybe half up front so that we may buy supplies.
I mean, give an insight
provisions?
roll. Give an insight roll.
I know.
she don't have
I know.
that
I feel
gold.
bad. I feel so bad about this now.
Hey.
Of course. That's entirely fair. Travelling to the Dwarven lands, even Godbeard Hold, you'll definitely want. And you want rations because you don't necessarily want to eat too much Dwarven food. It would be... It doesn't do good things to the anatomy of people like you and me. Like, she immediately... Maybe the little bit of hesitation you saw is just disillusioned in, like, this charismatic-ish side to her. Mm-hmm. And she actually goes to a lockbox and takes out the money. This can be for the two of you. I can't give for the rest of your party right now, and plus they're not here. That would be unfair. so I can give you 250 gold now, which would be half of both of your shares. And she literally goes over and hands it. It's not even in a pouch. She just hands the coins in Jarviskjir. All the coins are enchanted in such a way that they push together into the higher form of currency. So she just has the amount in plat, and just sort of hands it to you. Plat and a couple of gold.
Right, so we were both getting half of that.
You would both get 125 gold.
How do you split that? Like, I get like the nifty.
You just kind of push down on a surface for long enough, and it goes.
It's like a bag of holding. You think it. You like split.
So since you're from 4E, can you push platinum together to make astral diamonds?
No, but astral diamonds do sort of exist.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I did consider that once. But
I have higher than platinum currencies too, so.
Of course.
That's fine. We'll just divide it by 5 and we'll each take 50 for now. That'll get us provisions.
She kind of nods and is like, yes, that should be far more than enough for a short trip into the Dwarven lands, although if there's any kind of complication, any kind of danger, very unlikely you have to deal with banditry there unless Caspak's men betray you, which I find unlikely. But any sort of danger you face on the way should be more or less fine with that. And any more aid you need, be sure to ask. But I think that should be the end of this meeting. I do have other matters to attend to, she says, moving her plate closer.
Have a lovely day.
Yes, you two. Have safe travels.
Thank you.
Well, that could have gone worse. Must
Not bad.
I do not know whether you have heard of the Bank of the... What was it?
Bank of the Merchant Waves.
Bank of the
History roll.
Waves.
History roll. It's obviously harder roll for you, because your life. No. But you know a lot about banks. Bastillion has a lot of banks.
Yeah.
They're a large bank based in Tran. Does business all over Jarviskjir, potentially Cardinal Isles.
It's a bank that deals to nations and lordships and towns and things instead of just people and companies and things. It's a big people bank.
A big people bank.
Big people bank.
For giants.
Interesting.
Can we stop by the smiths on the way down? I was hoping to pick up a blade or two.
I mean, if you want just standard weaponry, you can absolutely buy it. It would be the same sort of price as normal.
Yep. Standard weaponry.
What are you buying? What are you selling?
I mean, it's called a rapier, but basically I want an arming sword. Basically a normal sword.
Yeah.
When people think of rapier, they think of something thin.
Well, I actually have
like
rules
hills.
for arming swords, remember?
Yeah, but it's not. It's not an arming sword.
No, I know what you want. That's fine.
Yeah.
I just called it arming sword because it makes sense for the slot.
Yeah, because it's gotta have that finesse property for me. So I want rapier.
Yep, that's fine. You'd be able to find that. The blacksmith here is pretty well stocked because they actually have a lot more smiths than they maybe normally would for the population because deadless. They are not only do they need weapons, they are willing to pay for good quality weapons usually. So, got a couple of smiths.
Indeed. That's all.
Alright, Sid, Melody, what were you doing? I mean, what was Sid doing and Melody helping?
After I finished working on my little thingy, I would have had Melody help me carry this, like, I mean, it's all completely put together. All the components were completely put together. I would have had her bring it into the guy's shop with me. And it literally looks like bits and baubles and whatnot, all put together, held together by gears and crystals and so on. And then eventually when we put it in there, and she put it down, I would have stood over it and done a little bit of magic.
Is this in the shop?
Like imbued with a little... In the back area of the shop where I was looking to hold it, would have done the last little bit of magic I needed to do, and that last little twing of magic that I needed was the one that literally turns on that has always worked for me before, but I haven't been able to work since I left my original shop back in the nation where I'm from. Don't tell me, Astana. So I have not made it work since then. I activate it so the imprinting can start. It's going to grab onto somebody or something nearby, and it's going to take that personality and imprint it into itself. Clearly, I chose the shop because I found something I thought might be amusing, but literally every time I choose something to imprint, it doesn't really go the way I want it to. It goes the way it wants to. It finds its own thing to imprint.
What are you
Get one of those
imprinting?
shrunken heads.
Don't you have to put something in the device, or more or less have something to imprint? Or do you just sort of store something for later?
I look at roll 20.
Okay.
That's a lot of stuff to read.
A lot.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh look.
It's more or less. It's
A
more
novel.
or less. Find familiar. It's a modified version of Find
Yeah,
Familiar.
but what did you make? Like, description. Yeah, but what is it?
Oh, that's the fun
Physically.
part. That's the fun part too. Is
It's
sometimes
sort of a middle. It's sort of a nothing that becomes something, based
off the
imprinting.
personality it prints to. So it kind of like leaves it open to you, Mr. DM, sir, and then you tell me the personality, and I can take over from there.
Okay. You press the button.
Yep.
You,
but again,
you
it
do the magic like
yeah,
the way
it
you
takes
do.
a process, so it's like one of those. We'll come back and get it later. You know.
Mhm. Oh, and you just sort of leave it like okay.
Yeah.
And you go off to do whatever you need to do.
Yep. I'm like, all right, Melody, we'll come. All right, Melody, we're gonna come back and we'll get this sometime tonight. And if it hasn't already finished, because I honestly don't know how it works, so let's see. And if we leave.
Sure. Is there anything else you two want to do in the city?
No, I think I'm all
You're
set.
fine? Okay,
Yeah.
great. You come back, and they seem to have finished whatever they need to do. Like, Sid is probably enjoying, like, a meal. Probably lunch. It's probably lunchtime. So Sid's probably like, okay, I have nothing to do right now. Lunch!
Oh, I'm totally getting, like, whatever I'm eating, tons of crumbs and maybe a little bit of grease on the scroll that I just purchased because I'm, like, reading over it, like, really interested.
Oh, Sid.
Oh, yeah, hey. I
mentioned
honestly
that
didn't even know you guys got back here.
When I first met you guys, you mentioned that we had met before, but I couldn't quite remember. I think, were you the gnome who made this? And I'll kind of like, I'll be like reaching through my like little bag that I have, like just digging around for stuff. Like, sorry, I just have so much junk in here. And I pull out, it's like a little orb, and inside there's like a little mechanical goldfish in there that's kind of just like floating around. And I hold it out to you. Was this something that you made? It was a gnome. I don't remember. It was so many years ago.
I'll take it and open it up and look inside and whatnot to see if I have my inscription or anything like that in there of like the stuff that I make.
You little
I
seal.
get in, get
It's my
advantage.
trinket. It's a little mechanical goldfish thing.
Cool. That's pretty friggin' sweet. Hold on one second. It's finite sight perception investigation. There we go. So, bam. Well, a natty one.
You see the seals
And it's
inside.
22.
They're really small. You get your glasses on. There's no way this is a glasses job, even with gnomish eyes, because the gnomish seal is like basically the head of a pin. It's like, and it's got the name and the detail and all that sort of thing. Because it's like on the disc you have the bottom that set out all the details. Like the rock gnomes, you do that really small so it doesn't mess up the design. You do recognize this seal. It's not yours. It's the seal of that one artificer that worked with you on your big project back home, and then pissed you the fuck off, and you declared him your rival forevermore. It's his
Okay.
fish.
I hold it and I go, oh, this piece of shit.
Oh. Well, I took it as payment for some alarms, but yeah.
Well, you know what? You don't need this. And I'll actually toss it over my shoulder, like nonchalant toss it over my shoulder.
Can I catch it? I
Give
it
me
sleight of
an
hand.
acrobatics roll.
Acrobatics. Huh. The leap.
Oh!
So,
You
I
just see
don't
like
notice,
5
I
foot
don't
behind
hear
you, just see
crash.
Dale go. Woo!
I have something better than that for you, though. And
What if we talk
consider
about being
this
rude?
one. Well, no. Listen. Consider this payment for being an arrow, because you certainly can find the mark, can't you? And I'll take the scroll and I'll hold it up and then notice my crumbs and stuff on it. Like, oh, hold on. And like at the same time, like dusting it off too. Like I don't mind eating crumbs off a dusty scroll.
I would
and, like,
too.
Hand it to you, and then I'd be like, "Oh, this is so rude. You're right. I am being rude." And I'm gonna like curl it up and put it into a scroll case, and like grab like a random like thread of leather and like try to tie like a sloppy bow onto it and be like, "Here for what you've done so far."
I'll look at it. What is this?
It's a gift, but understand this. I give you this gift with a little bit of advice. I have the ability to enhance such things. So you can either hold on to it now so I can make it better later, or if you can produce similar things moving forward, understands that I can similarly enhance those, which enhances your ability to be enhanced. You get what I'm saying?
Kind of. And I'll open it up and look at it. What is it?
It's the spell scroll of Boning Hands he bought from Grumble.
Oh. Okay.
I noticed that in combat, you are really good at doing what I do, which is staying out of the way and trying not to die, while lending whatever aid you can, still trying not to die. This is a means for you to better protect yourself should you find yourself in the scenarios we find ourselves in anyways.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Certainly something I can learn.
I imagine so. How much does it cost for the inks and stuff to do that? I can't remember.
To do what?
Is
To
it
copy a scroll.
Oh, there's a
25
thing for that? We'll look it up when you try and
Isn't
do
it?
that.
Could I have purchased that while I was at the shopkeep too?
Ink, I think, is like, what, 15 gold a thing? So you can buy ink.
I thought
It's
it was
expensive, ink.
50 gold pieces to transfer a spell
That's for
into your spell
wizarding,
book.
which she can do.
Yeah.
But,
She's a wizard. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So,
Okay, so if it's 50 gold pieces, I would have purchased 40 gold pieces worth of the stuff, leaving me po, and gave you most of the supplies to accomplish the test.
that's
over.
what you were asking, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that okay, Ollie? Would he have had those things or no?
Yeah. Well, maybe not if him. You could have found someone else in the city. You had time today. You could have done
Sure.
that.
So I would have spent 40 of the requisite amounts, assuming it's 40 or greater, to do that.
Yeah, she's an abjuration wizard. It would be 50 gold.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, of course. You're welcome. I'm just Googling the price.
So yeah.
I'm never gonna prepare this, but thank you. Out of
You
game.
never know. You never know.
But if you put it in your book, you can then reproduce it as a scroll, and scrolls are usable by more than just you.
Yep.
I allow anyone
Well-
to try.
Should we head to Craspex?
Yeah.
I'm excited to get home later, but need something to distract me between now and then. Let's go.
That journey is 3 days.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you want to leave the box there or take it.
He would not have realized it was that long. And so once you guys are like packing like lots of things, and I've literally just got like just me and my stuff's not all packed up, because he just doesn't pay attention. He'll be like, "Whoa, wait a second! How long are we leaving for?"
It'd actually be
Just
2
to-
days because you're not being sneaky about it, but you know.
Oh yeah, because we can go the direct route. It's 2 days there.
So it would be 50 gold pieces. It's only 25 for abjuration ones.
Yeah,
How it
yeah.
goes. So all right. I thought we were going across town. Can we leave in the morning?
Yeah. Why not?
Oh, great! That gives you enough time to finish
Means you have
scribing
another
that
time
scroll.
another time on the
Did we tell
bar.
Gilvin about our new lodgings? Is he just a
Gilwyn
tavern?
knows.
Okay.
He's just
Gilwyn
better.
Although
knows all.
you would expect Gilwyn to be more interested, or at least to have visited. He hasn't.
Got daddy issues. That's what's going on. He's talking about him with Humble.
I mean,
So-
probably, right?
Sorting them out. They're sorting each other out, playing with each other's musical instruments,
Lutes.
strumming each other's lutes. They'll sort it out.
Is that
and he'll
literally
come
what
back
Vale's
feeling
complaining
better.
about? That Gilwyn isn't here and is probably off with Humble while you're like having an afternoon together with everyone? Like you're like playing like solitaire and you're like, Gilwyn should be here. Probably off
So
with Humble.
Vale might
His
actually
new
have some
friend.
dice. Vale might actually.
I think you
some
do have dice.
If
I have a
Vale,
feeling
if
like-
Vale is grumbling about about Gil, at some point Melody will just clip him over the head and say, "Don't insult Gil."
It's not an insult, Melody. Yes, you don't understand.
Vale is jealous, Melody.
Well, yes. Anyone
Why are
care for a game of dice?
Why are you always upset when Gil's not around while you're playing solitaire? You do realize you're only supposed to need yourself to play that game, right?
Well, that's
You
why
don't need him giving you inspiration to play solitaire.
Well, yes, but he would play dice with me. Do you want to play dice?
I'm working on things. I'm back to the basement.
Exactly. Melody.
Melody
want
is
me to-
working on potions.
Melody's working on potions.
I'll play
You
dice.
actually have all day, Melody. If you want to make us, if you actually had all day,
There's like,
Yep,
there's
I will
like,
you can
make
make
a-
one with his
it's like
slice.
they'll like ask everyone, and it's like awkwardly they're both sitting in the room, and he's like, and just like looks at her and looks away. Amelia's like, I'll play dice.
What a lovely evening you have, while Melody makes noxious smells in the other room.
Vale will pop out to get the requirements for a nice meal and cook something in the evening.
Hey!
Let's give it a cook. What will it be cooking at home? Is it still survival? Is it?
Intelligent. I like have a crafting. It would just be
craft cook
intelligence.
supplies. Is it tools cook
Yeah,
supplies.
which
You're
I
just not
usually do
proficient.
is intelligence because crafting.
there you go,
is
flat
usually
intelligence.
Well, that's a flat D20.
Yeah,
Have fun with that one, guys.
I like that Vale just tries to cook sometimes.
Whoa!
Hey, it went well last time. I'm not used to the oven, you see. I'm used to cooking on an open
Yeah,
fire.
you haven't been in like a kitchen, like ever. So you burn things, you smoke it up. Like also, Melody is using the kitchen to brew this potion, which looks like she's just brewing mud. Sometimes she puts things in the mud. And it's like, So you're
What
like,
are you cooking? Cow pies.
and you're like, Melody, can you move? And she's like,
It's Vale. Melody would make no concession.
yeah. So, you don't make much, Vale, and what you do make is burnt in some ways, undercooked in other ways. Took like 4 hours to do the meal. You're messy. You don't have an apron, so now your armor's just
Yeah.
messy. Well, you probably didn't have your armor on, just like your underclothes are messy. It's like,
So
It didn't work out well.
with my passive perception of 4, I'm sure at one point in time I smelt food, and later on remembered that there was a smell of food, and went upstairs to grab something with my nose in a book, absentmindedly kind of grabbed whatever it was, bit
No,
down,
presentation.
absentmindedly, like,
It tastes great. It actually tastes
But-
fantastic.
but it broke a tooth.
But it
tastes
amazing.
great.
Well, whatever it is, it tastes magically delicious.
Seasoned to
It's
spice.
like like the anime where they're like sitting there in the corner with like the doom and gloom, sort of like just he's just sitting there like.
Shamed. And by the end of it, Melody's fucking potion. Do you actually put this one in a bottle? Because the other ones you had in like water skins.
She'd probably still have the empty water skin, so she
So
probably
she just use them again. Like whatever's coming out of that smells nicer than whatever Vale just cooks. Like, by a lot.
Melody would probably
Well-
take one look at the prepared food and then just like walk out the door and go looking for something
Like,
else.
come back with like half a rat. Like,
Yeah.
In between, like dice games, if Vale's cooking, I would totally help Melody with her potion making.
yeah, I assumed because like
See, that's
you're
why it
trying
went
to
wrong.
add
We
the
had 3
implications.
people in the kitchen. Of course, Vale's gonna burn stuff.
So
Don't
the
blame
next
Melody
day,
for this.
less rain. It's a little misty, but you know you can get around. You had all your stuff basically packed up from last time because it was like, can we not leave yet? And you're like, oh, leave it by the door. Play some dice. So now
I'm
it's
ready
the
to
next
go
day.
sans one detail.
Yeah. Do you
Go
wanna
next
deal with
door.
that? You go next door, like, oh, you're back. You know, you took longer than I thought you would, but that's okay.
Honestly, I meant to come back last night. Totally got distracted by this, like, we're gonna call it dinner, and I'm here now to collect my my thing. And
Oh!
thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be in here. He opens up the device you made. It's like one side is open and it's empty. Like, yeah, exactly how you left it.
Thanks. And I like walk
You're
over
welcome!
to it. I'll walk over to it.
This is the sort of customer experience you expect from a certified babysitter.
Wait. So he was keeping this baby in a box.
Just
Got it in this lead-lined box.
It's made out of metal and stuff, so I'm not really worried about that stuff, but I'm still curious. So I can make my way over to it and see if it's moving. I've known it because this thing.
Give me a perception check.
I don't know if it clings to personalities in 5 feet or 5 miles. I don't know.
It does. So the box is empty, like, at least how I'm imagining is like, this is sort of the imprinting device, and you put like the blank thing inside it, and it sort of scans something and shifts and changes with extra parts from the box, like a bit, kind of like a creation engine. And you kind of look around, you're like, oh, there's a cog here, and like a screw, and like some shavings. And actually in Grumble's hammock is your automaton. A little different than before. It's sort of humanoid-ish, but
Is it a monkey?
its head is not human-shaped. It's sort of just like a sort of a vaguely triangle-ish shape, with little glowing dots for eyes. If you had to, you wouldn't work this out, Sid. If anyone else had to say, it looks kind of vaguely like animal-ish, but it's like a person thing. And like when you go up, it just sort of like sheepishly looks out at you, and then immediately decides you're all right and like clambers down.
Okay. So I'm gonna go up to the thing, and I'm gonna, as I kind of like approach it, I'm gonna place like my hand slowly on it, and I'm gonna try to like just do quick little tests to see if I can get to know it. You know, like, does it seem like it's going to be a little rambunctious? Does it seem like calm? Is it like a petulant child?
Insight check with advantage. You know this shit.
Yep. I suck at insight though.
You know, it actually seems pretty quiet. Like you're like checking things. It doesn't really move. It like flinches a little bit and like kind of like covers parts of it quite modestly. It seems quite quiet, but like is immediately attached to you. Like when you stop doing it, it kind of like just sits in your hand and like kind of like hugs your fingers a little bit. It's very friendly, but kind of quiet.
Awesome.
It's not going to be as much trouble as the cat, that's for sure.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, this is a new one. This is more similar to back home. I want to try something. And I hold my hands out, and I go, and I just do this like strange little, imagine this guy's watching me, strange little flick of my hands to disable it. Just all of a sudden make it go like...
Yeah,
like
it just like falls over like you cut its puppet strings, right? It just like...
Yeah. I was like, all right, and then turn it back on.
It's like a person standing up, like...
Okay.
Silently, of course. Actually, it would whir a little bit, but much quieter than the cat and the other ones, for sure. It's pretty quiet one.
There's one more test I need to do. And I'm gonna look at the thing and I'm gonna say, all right, you need to go next door, okay? Next door, there is a door. You need to walk up to the door and rap-a-tap-tap on the door. And you know, my friends are inside. Go introduce yourself to my friends. I'll be there shortly.
Okay,
kinda like
you see it, it kind of like looks at you blankly, and then walks away.
Okay. I'm going to make sure I'm watching through its eyes and whatnot.
It doesn't turn to go towards your house.
I can So once it stops doing that,
it's going somewhere. It's just not going to your house.
Yep. I'm going to continue watching through its eyes then, until it seems to go beyond the 100-foot range.
It gets just almost on the 100-foot range where you see it looks at like the next lot of houses and it sees a sign for like a general store and starts walking towards that.
Okay. Keep watching.
And then it like when it cuts out, the eyes cuts out.
It doesn't fall. It doesn't. Yeah.
It still does it, I assume. It's still going. You just can't see through it.
Yeah. All right. I will immediately scramble to be back in that range, and then I'll reach out to it with my mind. And this is like an instinctive thing because like I didn't run this test yet, and be like, stop, like with my mind.
It's like got its hand like up on this general store's door. It stops, and then someone opens the door, and it goes into the mud somewhere nearby. Which is very disorientating for you because it tumbles and you see.
Yeah, Sid just hurls.
Yeah.
Oh my. Okay.
Was there something in front of the door? Oh, probably kids again. Leaving stuff out here.
Looking through its eyes, I'm then just gonna give step-by-step directions to it. Not like literally every step, but instinctive step to guide it to where our home is.
When you give it actual proper directions, it just walks quite happily. But it's not in any rush. It's quite slow, actually. And then it goes. I imagine it stops in front of the main door.
Mm-hmm.
And do you tell it to knock?
Knock!
Gunk. And I imagine Vale hears like very quiet, like a...
Oh, he's tiny, right? So it's like a tap-tap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a cat size, yep. Or like penny sized.
Belle's gonna open the door.
It like looks up and like
Belle sighs very loudly. He's done something again.
it just
What did
mimics
I
you a
do?
little bit.
Is exactly what you hear it say.
I don't know what you've done. Quite frankly, this is disturbing.
What's disturbing about this? And whatever it's doing, Ollie, it's doing it with my voice.
Yeah, it's like it's just
being
copying
itself.
what Vale's doing, but like maybe a minute behind. So Vale like nodded aggressively, and it like nods aggressively.
You created some sort of small, mechanical, childlike abomination again.
Oh no, I just finally transferred my soul to something that's
Can I
better
pass-
fitting. This is me now.
Oh, really? Vale
Yes.
draws back a foot and boot.
Tumble, mud. And then it starts walking back.
They would leave the door open for it.
It just stops in front of the door, I imagine, right?
I'm gonna come back to my senses and be like, oh, jeez, oh. And then like
You hit something hard there,
way
friend.
Out the doorway, like, hey, ignoring that guy. Hey,
Hey, my experience. Oh, no. You just see it. It's probably just standing there in front of the door, like. It looks a little sad.
This entire time, Grumble's just been watching Sid. Just
Like
watching.
having a bad trip is what he thinks. And imagine you pick up the rest of the stuff.
Oh, the components or whatever. If I think they're pertinent, I'll grab them. Anything else, I'm like, meh, I'll leave them behind. He can make a sale off them.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Yeah, anything that's pertinent, I'll take, of course. But all right, so yeah, I'll go running out and yell at them. But more or less, I just introduce you guys to my new creature, and I call him. This is my little servo. I haven't named him yet, but I figure my little servo MLS. Should I name it MLS? Is that? Do you think MLS is a good name? Like, I feel like MLS is something that would cheer lots of people up. People love MLS, right?
MLS?
MLS, yes, MLS.
What horrible thing is Scott insinuating right now?
Major League Soccer,
Major,
nothing
Major
else.
League Soccer. We're alright. I googled it just to be
That's
sure.
fine. Okay, it's not like a disease. Good.
Yeah, I was like, let's just make sure this isn't some horrible condition.
When Melody says it, it actually sounds like a word rather than
Yeah.
It's like MLS.
Yeah, it sounds like an Elvish word to her.
Yeah.
I think we should call it Footbot. because of how easily it gets kicked.
You like give it a look and it goes like.
Oh.
What
It
does
actually
look
would like walk behind. It's like a tiny little person. Actually, very detailed. Well, it would have like mitten hands. But like fairly chunky build, and instead of like a head, normal head, it's kind of sort of animal-like, but very vague, and it has those sort of little glowing eyes. It's probably hiding behind Sid now because it's scared of Vale.
So you're telling me you don't like MLS? That's fine. Technically, he's an automaton. He's not a full one, so perhaps he's my automaton little servo. So I can call him ALS instead.
ALS?
No.
I was waiting.
Ding. No. MLS sounded better.
Yeah.
The wind says.
Well, we'll come up with a name. We'll come up with a name as we travel.
Yes. Why not?
What
Speaking
does
of
it
traveling,
do?
What was that?
What does it do?
What do you do?
What does the little creature do? Like, what is it?
It lives.
It just lives?
Like it goes like.
Can it learn? Can it?
that's cute.
Watch this. I'm gonna look at the creature. I'm gonna say, "Hey, you. I go like this. You hit me."
Like both hands. Actually, considering you're a gnome, it doesn't even need to jump. It can do that.
Can you do that with him too? And I gesture over to Vale.
And it kind of like looks and then looks at you again, like.
I'm like, Vale.
Vale like stoops down, puts his hand down for the low five.
No. It just learned how to be cool.
But can it cast spells or explode?
Jesus. I mean, some other in-world god.
One time you did that before, and you yelled glitter gold, glitter gold, and I was very happy.
This time it was. Whoops. I'm like,
Gnomish
yeah, I don't, no, man. No, it's pretty dumb, but it's a work in progress. How many creatures have you created?
Well,
Oh, that's right, 0, which is why your species is dying. So let's work on these one at a time.
Considering you look pretty proud of yourself, it like walks up to you and is like,
you're lucky it walked away from that.
I have a
guy, 'cause
potential
that
name
guy
for
with the
this thing.
foot
We
stomp
should call it
coming.
Punchline.
Oh! Oh!
Anyway.
What do you think? What do you think of the name Melody?
Melody?
What do you think of the name Punchline?
What is punchline?
Yep.
She like crouches down next to it and just looks at it, like tilts her head at it. It's just...
On the nose.
Maybe just blinks and barely reacts. This
Silent conversation.
strange.
Immediately is like looking at her pack for something to like give to it as like toy, and like not finding much. Eventually, she just like finds like a spoon or something and like
Like
hands
a
it to him. Like, here you go.
It like wields the spoon like someone would a hammer. Like
That's cute.
seems pretty happy with itself. Like
Okay. Enough time wasted on a servo, on a fine familiar spell.
we could always waste more. Yeah,
Sure.
alright.
Okay. So
So I imagine with that, eventually, like the curiosity gets, and probably Vale's like, we should leave before we lose more sunlight. And
Yeah, Vale's totally not mad.
you just made something dislike you. It's okay. And you head. There's nothing else. You just head towards Grain Hill, right? There's no real issue.
Yeah.
You don't need to do anything else. Don't have any intention to do anything else. So you leave the city. Probably like last time. You take Galleon with you, but use him more as a pack mule. Sometimes put Sid on him if Sid's like lagging really far behind. Hiccups, what the hell? I haven't eaten anything. Why do I have hiccups? I blame Scott. So you head off. And it's basically... nothing bad happens. I mean, it's a travel over what would be farmland, but now is just sort of like wild plains. For 2 days, you camp. You can camp near the forest, which you probably do just because you're a little more comfortable there. With Amelia's ward, you don't have to really worry about wild beasts. Yeah, you have to deal with wild beasts as an owl. Vale's sure it's the same owl that's just giving you grief.
Following me.
But you can go to Grain Hill with no issue at the end of the second day on the travels. You head up to this town that Scott hasn't been to. It's an appearance is an abandoned human village, a farm village. But there's a little sort of fort kind of thing, and it's populated by deadless, but mostly in tents, and populating whatever buildings they have. They tend to use much more into like little halls than actual houses, because they don't really need the space. They're actually content with tents. So you guys go up. There is no issue with you guys going up, like the people who are patrolling. In fact, it's the elf. It's the elf who goes up. This elf on a horse. The horse is also undead, and it's got armored barding on it. The elf is topless, has the long hair, translucent skin, and almost a glow of fire inside, and kind of looks over all of you, and does look at Scott for a little longer. It looks at all of you. It looks at Melody for a long time, looks at Scott for a long time. And then just sort of leaves you alone, assumingly saying that you're allowed in, and goes back to patrolling.
In comment, I would explain to Sid that this is the extraplanar horror from the Evil Fae Wild area, which I forgot the name of.
Miasma.
Miasma.
The court of the miasma.
There are so many tests I wish I could run, but I have a feeling like you're going to tell me no. So, diplomacy it is.
He only speaks Elvish.
And Dwarven.
Or Sylvan. And Sylvan.
Yeah. Melody was about to interject. He speaks language of Melody and Raj.
Unfortunately, I don't know that language. Sorry.
Or Elvish?
Oh, I don't speak Elvish.
Oh.
I speak the tongue of my homelands, the dwarves, because we often have to deal with trading with them, and so they're business partners and the like, and peoples that I needed to speak with of the dwarven realms, and pretty much everybody else either respected our people by speaking to us in our tongue, or we can get by with common. It's a shitty language, but it gets the point across when you need to.
She'll actually ask the elf in Elvish. He has some questions for you. Would you mind if I translated them, or are you too busy?
He kind of like looks at you, like he was riding off, and you probably say it back to him. And he looks back and is like, "Perhaps, if Kaspak deems them necessary to the cause, but I doubt the little Fey descendant has much of importance in that bulbous head."
Amelia will laugh at that, actually, which is funny because
You laugh, it stares.
doesn't know.
And then
Bill
rides on.
sniggers as well. He likes it when someone insults Sid after what he just said.
Like, sorry, Sid. Maybe some other time.
Alright,
well.
you walk forward to the little bit in front of a fort where Kaspak is. And Kaspak had heard word for the other deadless that you guys are coming, and he actually gets up and has his arms out as if to a hug, but you're fairly sure he's not actually going for a hug. He's just like, "Hey! My friends! You're back already. I hope that the negotiation table was warm and inviting, unlike the rain we've been having, no? Ugh, the weather, it's terrible. There's been a mist clinging to the town all day, and we're on top of a hill. It boggles the mind, but I don't pretend to understand weather."
This Melody actually is, because this is the first time she's actually got to use this. It's a new thing she's learned. She creates a tiny harmless entry effect that predicts what the weather will be at the location for the next 24 hours.
It's gonna rain.
She sort of looks at that and frowns, and then just looks at him sadly.
Doesn't say
He
anything.
clearly doesn't know what that means. Like you make like maybe like a little tiny rain cloud appears in your hand. You're
Yeah.
like, and he's like, "Oh, she learned a new trick," but doesn't know what that means at all. Did it go well? Are we
It
having
did,
a long
actually.
conversation? Should I get someone to get the? Should someone get the chairs?
It went fairly well.
Yeah, they seem quite receptive to the idea of having a mercenary group on the outskirts of Lichvale.
At least the Lady Builder was. I would
Yeah.
suggest you work with her if you want the best deal.
Well, we'll
They
have to
said
be
they could
working
build you
with
an
her.
encampment.
An encampment to work our duties out of. That is a great idea. I find that really. I like that. I really like this. I'll have to talk with her more often, and I know that being the leader, she has other voices to whisper in her ears. I have one, and he like kind of motions to wherever the dwarf, that the elf is, just sort of riding in circles around the town. So he just sort of like motions to, like, as if it's this time of day, he's there. He
Yeah,
didn't
he's
even
there.
look.
Well, she wanted to set up a meeting with you. We thought the Copperbeard Holds might be a neutral location.
Oh. Would they allow us?
We're gonna go make negotiations with them now.
We would need a letter from you detailing a request for negotiation with the Lady Builder.
Well, I still know Dwarvish, so maybe that'll give you some clout. Speaking of
With a
clout, get me a
sealed-
pen! Some ink! Someone comes up. And he starts, like, writing, but you can tell, like, in the Dwarven, he, like, writes, like, the dear, and then there's, like, oh. Wow.
You will need a seal probably to make it look more official.
Do you have
Okay.
any wax?
There's bound to be wax somewhere. In fact,
Actually,
some
might
of
even
my
have
men
some
have
like
their
ornaments.
wounds fixed with wax. I'll ask for some of that. It'll be authentic that way. This might take me a while. You might want to rest. He just sits and looks.
Would you like someone to dictate for you?
No. This is to be negotiations. It should be proper. It should be from the zombie's mouth, as it should be.
Well, I am fully
Who the
understand.
bugger are
Dwarven.
you?
Hi, I'm Sally the Fistus. Blah blah blah. I am. I have to say the whole name. I'm Sally Isodisa the Fixus. I'm one of them. So I fully understand Dwarven and can write extremely well. Do you want me to just copy down what you say in your native tongue? That way, it carries the full meaning of what it is that you're trying to get across.
He looks to Vale's like, is this little one trustworthy?
Yes.
Well-
friend.
Well,
Oh, well, a friend of yours is a friend of mine, of course. Of course. Yes, my little friend. He hands you the quill. Yes. Write down these words. He just starts talking.
and in the meantime, Vale, I was hoping to see if maybe the Deathless would have any interest in dueling as an outlet for some of that aggression.
Well, as long as they aren't going to go blood crazy.
I mean, I have my protective magic. I shouldn't have to worry if I'm there.
Okay, well, I'm up for not getting rusty. I've not been doing any fighting in quite a few days.
So you go to the game hall, and I assume you ask. Immediately he's like, what do you mean dueling? Like a fight?
Yes.
Yeah,
But
we'll give you a
without-
fight.
Fight for sport, not for actual harm.
We will
What?
do weapons to first blood, I suppose. With you,
Oh,
it
I don't
doesn't
have any
quite-
blood.
Yes, it doesn't quite work. First touch.
He just like puts his bone hand on your chest. I win. I'm really good at this game, guys. And so we're like, yeah.
You know what? Yes, you win this one, but now it is my turn, and you must try and stop me from touching you.
Yeah, you won't touch me. I'm the fastest deadless in the entire of the coin claws. You'll never be able to grab me ever in
I'll
your
give you a
life.
5-second head start.
Oh,
That's
5
how
seconds.
slow you are.
Well, for an elf, that's gotta be. Someone help me with this
You
insult.
just taught them tag.
Yeah. There's gonna slap him on the shoulder.
Ah! You win! Like, this continues for hours.
There may be a way to do this a little bit differently. I know you guys don't necessarily have to eat, but do you have a butcher about or capture animals one way or the other?
He used to be a chef. I used to be a chef.
Okay. Well, if you catch animals, we can make blood packets, and you can have them in maybe 1 or 2 spots, and maybe the goal should be for you to hit those instead. You get a good old squirt of blood when you hit your mark, but at the same time, you don't necessarily have to wait for, a deathless to bleed.
Maybe you should teach them to do
Blood
this
packets!
with colored water rather than slaughtering a whole load
I'll
of
be
innocent
keeping the
animals.
chicken for just such
Oh,
an
yeah,
occasion.
we don't eat it.
And, like a couple of them leave.
Chickens for
They
now.
don't come back for a while.
I guess we're having chicken for dinner. He used to be a chef.
So, you help Caspac write that letter. He does exactly as he said. He
Word for word.
Yeah, I assumed it was fine. You didn't have to do a roll
Including
for that. You're smart.
ahs and ohs and ms.
And like coughs. Like, like all that kind of like gross mouth noises that are deadless happened.
If one of them tell me to take away the ahs and ohs and ms, I would actually want his permission before I do that.
We don't read Dwarvish.
There's a dwarven like rune for like coughing in the middle of a sentence. It's so common.
Just comment on how your Dwarvish looks uglier than normal Dwarvish runes.
Okay, you asshole.
I have a 20 intelligence. There is no mortal more intelligent than my character.
There are mortals equally as intelligent as your character.
Or that have immortal magics.
That's true.
I actually do have like some very fine like parchment and stuff on me that I would lend you for this, by the way.
He does exactly as it says. He gets wax from somewhere. Like he leaves and come back with some like off-white wax. He kind of like smears on it to seal it. It does the job.
You know,
It doesn't look official.
I would have gone with a jawless skull as the seal.
Wow.
I can't draw that.
No, someone needs to carve it for you. One of your men will have the skill, I'm sure.
You know what, my friend of ours, I know he had these skill, the carving,
do it.
the forging. No, you've already done so much.
I really don't mind. Usually he keeps me busy doing stupid things. Helping with your diplomacy is actually a lot more interesting than...
Okay, you
yeah,
talked
yeah.
me into it. Go ahead, show me the entire process forging this. Yep, you take you probably take just stuff that you already have and make it into the shape of like a, what was it, like the jawless head kind of thing.
Yeah.
And into the wax. It actually, it works. And I assume you let him keep the thing, so he can use it. in the future.
Actually, if you give me a few days' time, I'm sure while we're traveling, I can fashion this into a signet for into a ring of notoriety for you.
This is great idea. Great idea. And with that, great idea. We're gonna take a break. for our final hour, where you're going back to the Dwarven lands, it seems. Why not, right? We'll be back in a few minutes. Without the Bane of the Bearded Bastards, so you know, if you have to deal with bearded bastards, you're screwed.
Yeah.